Okay, so I decided that I wanted to do another ranking video, but I'm going to be using a tier list. And I am a Zelda nerd, so I decided that I should just make a ranking video of Zelda games. I haven't played all of them, I haven't even played about half of them, but I've watched other people play them, and I am obsessed with the series, so I think it's a good idea to rank them. Again, this is just my personal opinion, so if you have a different one, obviously, you're going to be disagreeing with how I rank them. But I hope this is somewhat interesting to watch because I've decided that I wanted to make this video instead of just putting something out that I don't necessarily want to make. And I do not know if this video will be long because I might end up talking too much about the Zelda series, so I apologize if it's a bit long for a ranking video. Anyways, let's get right on into it. First of all, we have The Legend of Zelda, the actual first game, and I have not played this game. I've watched a couple people try to play this game, and it looks really hard. Obviously, it's a lot different than the Zelda games that are out now, but it could be worse. You'll see there are some worse ones. And I don't really know too much about it besides watching a couple clips of it, except that it is very aggravating. So I think that I will move it to D, maybe. I mean, I feel like with certain games, especially ones that are difficult, I cannot enjoy, even if they are well written and fun and simple. If I'm really bad at the game, I will rage quit the game and won't touch it for months. And I did this for quite a few Zelda games that are on this list, like the majority of the ones that I played. So, yeah, I'm gonna put it on a D, I think. So, moving on. Now we have The Adventure of Link, another game that I have not played, but I've watched a few people play it. It's pretty much like the first game, so I think I'm also gonna put it at a D. It has some different qualities that I like, I guess, but I don't think it's good enough to put it at a C because we have a lot of games on this list, and I don't want to make it too unfair to the other ones, so I'm gonna keep this one at a D as well. Now we have A Link to the Past, which is a game that I actually like quite a bit for what it's worth. Um, I haven't played it myself. I've watched other people play it, but it is a lot more interesting, I think, than some of the other ones on this list. But it's not super great, so I'm probably going to put it at a C. So, sorry, but there are better ones. Finally, there's a game I actually have played, Link's Awakening. I included the Switch version just because that's the one I ended up playing. I did rage quit quite a few times while playing this game, but I did really enjoy it, and that's why I'm having a hard time deciding where I should put it because it's not like other Zelda games, which kind of makes it interesting. At least not like the 3D ones, right? But at the same time, I had no idea what I was doing for the majority of the puzzles, which is why I rage quitted a bunch. So I think I'm gonna put it at B and not A, simply because I wasn't very good at it. Now we have The Faces of Evil, which, if you don't know, was a horrible game. I'm tempted to put it on S simply because it's funny of how bad it is, but I have to put it on an F because I'm trying to actually say my real opinion and not be funny. So that's going in an F for sure. Now we have another horrible game, which I'm not even going to talk about. It's also still very bad, so it's also going into F. Now we have Zelda's Adventure, which I actually think is slightly better than the other two, so I think I'm gonna put it in E. I haven't played it myself, but I've watched other people play it, but it does seem more interesting. So, yeah, I'm gonna put it in E. Now we have Ancient Stone Tablets, which is basically a lost Zelda game. It reminds me a lot of A Link to the Past, so I think I'm gonna put it with that, even though I haven't played it and I don't really know that much about it, but it does remind me of A Link to the Past. So, there we go. Now we finally have Ocarina of Time, or Ocarina of Time, depending on how you want to pronounce it. But I have not played this game. Really embarrassed about that. I've watched other people play the game though, like in person before, and also on YouTube. Because well, it's like the Zelda game. I'm going to put it in. I mean, I don't have that sort of connection to the game, so I'm going to put it in A. I'm sorry, but if I played it when I was younger, I think I would be more connected to the game, but I'm not. So it's going to go in A. Now we have Majora's Mask, which is an amazing game. I'm going to also put it in A just because I don't actually know too much about the game, even though I've watched so many different people play it. But it is very enjoyable, but I don't have that sort of connection to the game, so I'm only going to put it in A. Okay, we have Oracle of Seasons, which I haven't played, but I've watched at least two people play it from what I can remember at the moment. And it is actually quite a good game for being, you know, a little bit more simple, I guess. I do have a soft spot for 2D Zelda games, though. So I think I'm gonna put it in C, which I know other people might put it lower, but I am putting it in C because I want to. Now we have Oracle of Ages, which I'm also going to put in C just because of how similar it is. Now we have the Wind Waker, which is the one of the best, at least, games, I think. Lots of people are going to be upset if I put this in S. So I'm gonna put it in A instead because I have a very large soft spot for this game and I would like them to put it on the Switch. For Sora's Adventures, this game could have been a lot cooler if they, well, made it cooler, I guess. It's not a bad game. I would put it in C, but I don't know because there's gonna be a lot of them in C if I keep putting them in C. So I think I'll just have to put it in D simply because I do not want the list to grow too much in the C category. So yeah. Now we have the Minish Cap, which I actually really like. It is very difficult, but I do really like the game, so I think I'm gonna put it in B. Finally, Twilight Princess. Okay, so I do love this game. I've played this game a lot. Um, I haven't actually rage quitted this game too much, except for that one part where the fire is on the like wagon thing, and you have to put it out. And I had no idea what I was doing there. But anyway, I do think it's a good game. I like the characters, but I think it's an A and not an S simply because it's missing something. I kind of don't really like the disconnect of Link and Zelda in this game because if she's gonna make an appearance, I feel like she should have been more important in the story. But I do really like Ilia, so I guess that's okay. But yeah, I'm putting it in an A. Okay, I put this game in just because I decided why not. I'm gonna put it an E actually because it's not that bad for the type of game that it is. It's not necessarily an actual Zelda game per se, but it's not that bad. So putting it in an E. Phantom Hourglass. Okay, so I also really like this game. I think I'd feel guilty if I put it in B, so I think I just have to put it in A because I don't know, the concept of it is very similar to Wind Waker, and it's just an enjoyable game. It's, a little hard at times, but there's lots of peacefulness. So I do enjoy it. I think it's pretty. So I'm putting in A. Link's crossbow training, which I only included because I thought it would be funny. I'm actually gonna just put it in E because it's not that bad, but it's not like an actual really full made Zelda game, so I'm just gonna put it in E. We have Spirit Tracks, which I haven't played, haven't seen too much about it, so I think I'm just going to put it in C, just because I don't really know how good it is. I've seen some clips, they're definitely not, it's not the most interesting game, but it's not a bad game, so I'm gonna put it in C. Now we have A Link Between Worlds, which sometimes can be interesting, but lots of the dungeons are really difficult. So I'm going to put it in D, which I think is a reasonable placement for it. Now we have Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition, and I do actually like this game, but not as much as other games on this list. So I think I'm gonna put it at a D, simply because sometimes it's really difficult to actually win in battles, and the story isn't that great. But I do like the game, it's just not that great. Now we have Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, which is a game I really, really like. I actually completed absolutely everything in this game, and I know some people are gonna get mad, but I'm gonna put this in S. I know it doesn't really count as much as, other Zelda games on this list, but the story was super well done, especially for a game that's not technically speaking in the actual timeline. But I am putting it in an S because I really like this game and it was interesting to learn more about the characters. We have Triforce Heroes now, which is an okay game. I like that it's, you have the ability to play it in 2D and 3D, at least for this version that I'm ranking. And it is alright, so I'm gonna put it in D simply because it's not that bad, but it's not as good as other ones on this list. For me, anyway. I cannot forget about Breath of the Wild. It is a great game. I've played it for hundreds of hours. I have watched many people play it as well, and obviously, many people are more familiar with this game than the rest of the series since there are a lot of new fans now. When I was playing it, there were times that I felt that it wasn't as good as it could be, which I know I'm really picky, especially for someone who literally has a game that's not technically a Zelda game in the S category. But even so, I think I should put it in S just because of the fact that it's so popular and you can play it for so long and there's so much to do. So yeah, S. Now we have Cadence of Hyrule. I'm actually not a big fan of this game, so I think I'm gonna put it in E. It's not a bad game, I just don't really like how you're supposed to play it. It's an interesting concept, but I just don't like it, so I'm putting it in E. Now we have Skyward Sword. I absolutely adore this game. I think it's the best game of all time. Maybe not all time, but at least for the Zelda games, like I really like Skyward Sword. I know many people don't like it, but the story is great. I love the art style. I don't necessarily like having to go back and forth between the same types of places, but you can't deny that it has the best version of Z Link. So it has to go in S. And yeah, I guess that's it. Anyways, thank you for watching. This took me way too long to make, and I'm well aware that the quality is not very great because I recorded this on my phone and the format was wrong, so it gets blurry over time, and I apologize for that. But if there is another video, it'll probably be Project Sekai, which I'll record either tomorrow or not at all. But yeah, thank you for watching. Bye. Subscribe! Subscribe! Please! I'm desperate. Subscribe!